today on Rappler.
I am no thief. I am no criminal. I have done no wrong. But honorable senators, I am also no fool.
Chief Justice Renato Corona speaks for 3 hours in his defense.
Ito pong AMLAC report ay hindi po authenticated. Walang predicate crime, walang investigasyon, walang court order, walang notice sa depositor. Clearly, it came from a polluted source.
Corona tears into Ombudsman Morales' testimony on his alleged dollar accounts as detailed in the AMLAC report.
I am humbly asking all 188 complainants from the House of Representatives, led by the congressmen in the prosecution panel and Senator Franklin Drilon, to join me in a moment of truth as a gesture of transparency and reconciliation with the Filipino people and to one another.
Corona walks out after offering a waiver to open his accounts only if 188 congressmen and Senator Drilon do the same.
Order.
Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Chief Justice Renato Corona testifies on day 40 of his own impeachment trial.
Mga minamahal kong kababayan, ako po ay dito sa impeachment court na ito upang tumupad sa aking pangako sa sambayanan na ako ay magpapaliwanag ng lahat.
Corona outlines 3 reasons for his impeachment. All points a hit on President Aquino, calling him the hacienderong pangulo or the landlord president. He accuses the president of abrogating power to himself by crippling co-equal branches of government, and third, that the president is a pawn of alleged leftist advisor Ronald Llamas.
Ang una po, ang matinding galit ng hacienderong pangulo sa pagkakatalo niya tungkol sa Hacienda Luisita. Ano po ba ang karapatan ng Pangulong Aquino na ikagalit sa pamamahagi ng Hacienda Luisita sa magsasaka? Halos 60 taon na pinakinabangan at pinagkakitaan nila ang Hacienda Luisita, at pagkatapos ngayon ayaw na nilang isoli.
Mr. President.
Halos 60 taon na pinakinabangan at pinagkakitaan ng Hacienda Luisita, at pagkatapos ngayon ay gusto pa silang bayaran ng bilyong-bilyong piso na kapalit. Pangalawang dahilan, ang kagustuhan ng Pangulong Aquino na kontrolin ang 3 sangay ng gobyerno at sirain pagkapantay-pantay ng executive, ng legislative at ng judiciary. Paggamit ng lakas at kapangyarihan para makuha lamang itong adhikaing layuning ito. Pangatlong dahilan, ang unti-unting pagmamaniobra at pagsakop ng kaliwa sa pamamahala ng gobyerno at ang kanilang napipitong takeover ng ating bansa. Tila kaya ay hawak na hawak ni Ronald Llamas at ang kanyang mga kakosa sa leeg ang Pangulong Aquino.
The Chief Justice claims his family has always lived a simple life, giving up comforts and spending frugally.
Ano po ba ang lifestyle naming pamilya? Ang lifestyle po namin ay napakasimple po namin, napakatipid at hindi mapag-aksaya. Hindi po kami mahilig sa sosyalan, nakatutok sa pamilya. For 40 years po, kami ay nakatira sa parehong bahay na minana ko sa aking magulang. Kailanman the past 40 years, hindi kami nakapagbayad ng upa or amortization sa housing loan. Simpleng buhay at tahanan lamang. Hindi man kami gumagamit ng aircon sapagkat napakadali po namin magkasakit sa lamig. Simpleng pagkain lamang ang kinakain namin sa bahay. At sa maniwala po kayo at sa hindi, kami po ay walang katulong sa bahay.
Corona goes on to narrate how his wife's uncle, Jose Basa, cheated the mother of Cristina Corona from her share in the sale of a family property near Eastwood that is now worth 2.5 billion pesos. He claims his wife's family is the aggrieved party.
Hindi po si Mr. Jose Basa ang inapi. Siya po ang nang-api sa aking mother-in-law at sa pamilya ng aking mother-in-law. Maliban po sa pagkawala ng pangalan ng pagkaka-issue ng bagong titulo ng Basa Compound na nawala yung pangalan, yung kalahating share ng aking mother-in-law. Si Mr. Basa po, I'm sorry to say this again. I'm sorry and I really apologize to have to say it now. Pero kailangan po sigurong malaman ng bayan. Wala naman po siyang trabaho eh. Buong buhay naman niya spoiled brat po eh, anak mayaman. Tuwing may kailangan po, takbo kay mama, kilola tsaring, hingi ng pera. Pag walang pera yung matanda, sige, benta kaliwat kanan. Ilan po bang anak niyang pinaaral? Siyam po ang anak ni Mr. Jose Basa. Wala naman po siyang trabaho. At yung kaisa-isang property na pong natira doon sa matanda, yun na nga po yung Basa Guidote property doon sa Sampaloc na kinuha at binili ng City of Manila. Pati yun po, gusto pong ibenta ni Mr. Basa. Ang sabi ng mother-in-law ko, enough is enough.
Corona also went to great lengths to explain his properties and bank accounts. He cuts down LRA Administrator Eulalio Diaz III, calling him the nephew of Morales and Justice Antonio Carpio and the best friend of President Aquino.
Ako po ay pinaratangan na may 45 ari-arian daw. Alam naman po ni Eulalio Diaz III, administrador ng LRA at pamangkin ni Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales at ni Justice Antonio Carpio na matalik na kaibigan ni Pangulong Aquino na wala naman akong 45 properties eh. Alam naman niya yun eh. At yung listahan na taglay-taglay niya dito sa hearing na ito ay exaggerated, huwad at hindi totoo. Wala po akong 45 properties. Lilima lang po ang akin dyan at yan ay pinatunayan na namin at lahat ay nakadeklara po sa aking salin. Wala po akong tinago na ari-arian na hindi ko linagay sa aking salin. Kahit na ang binabati ko sa akin dito sa impeachment court na ito na bakit ko raw hindi linagay ang acquisition cost.
Corona also explains his use of fair market value as declared in his tax forms in his SALN.
Bakit ginamit mo yung fair market value ng tax declaration at hindi mo linagay yung fair market value ng kasalukuyan? Unang-una po, hindi ko naman po alam yung fair market value ng kasalukuyan. Dahil kung ganun po ang ating pagbabatayan, di lahat po ng nanunungkulan sa gobyerno na may ari-arian, every year kailangan pong tumawag ng appraiser kung gagamitin naman natin ay acquisition cost. Yung property, halimbawa, binili ko noong 1992 for 3 million pesos. Kung yun ang gagamitin kong value sa aking salin, ngayon 2012, na nangangahalagang 10 million na halimbawa, example lang po, ay 3 million pa rin ilalagay ko. Kaya hindi rin po updated at hindi rin po accurate. Kaya in good faith po, linagay po yung fair market value na nakalagay sa tax declaration dahil yun ay mas reliable kasi sa yung actual selling price na hindi ko naman alam kung magkano ko maibibenta dahil hindi ko naman binibenta.
Around an hour and 45 minutes into his narrative, Corona launches an attack on Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales and her testimony on his alleged $82 accounts. Like Morales, he uses a PowerPoint presentation to show a shrinking pie of alleged dollar accounts and lays the groundwork to disqualify it as evidence.
Sabi ni Ombudsman Carpio Morales, ako raw po ay may 10 million hanggang 12 million US dollars po sa 82 bank accounts. Wala po akong kilalang tao may 82 bank accounts. Ewan ko lang po kay Ombudsman Morales, baka siya meron. Kaya nakatanim sa isip niya yung 82 bank accounts. She misleadingly alleged that such information was based on the report provided her by AMLAC. Ito pong AMLAC report na ginamit ni Ombudsman Morales dito sa impeachment court na ito. Ginamit dito sa impeachment court na ito ay hindi po authenticated. Walang predicate crime, walang investigasyon, walang court order, walang notice sa depositor. Clearly, it came from a polluted source. Ang ginawa ko po ay tumawag po ako ng isang team ng accountants. Napag-aralan yung listahan na winagayway dito ni Ombudsman Morales at malinaw na malinaw po na kanyang testimony was one of deception, exaggeration, and misrepresentation. Gusto ko po sanang humingi ng pahintulot sa Honorable Impeachment Court kung pwede rin po ako gumamit ng PowerPoint presentation. In BPI, Acropolis were closed as early as 2004 to 2005 and transferred to BPI, Tandang Sora, NPS Bank, Cainta. Paliit ng paliit yung pie na sinabi ni Ombudsman Morales na meron daw ako. Wala po akong 10 to 12 million US dollars katulad ng sinabi ni Ombudsman Carpio Morales. Wala din po akong 82 bank accounts. Ang lahat ng nasa amin ay nanggaling sa mabuting paraan, sa sariling sikap, at wala po akong ninakaw sa gobyerno kahit na isang ising. Wala po akong ninakaw sa gobyerno kahit na isang pera.
Are you true, Mr. Chief Justice?
Malapit na po. Kinita po ng malinis ang lahat ng aming pinag-ipunan nung ako ay nasa pribadong sektor pa. Nagbayad po ng tamang buwis at mahaba ang fund history ng mga pondong ito.
Corona argues he did not commit an offense when he did not declare his $4 accounts, saying he believes there was no legal duty to do so under the Foreign Currency Deposit Act. He further argues what he did was not a high crime and is not an impeachable offense.
I have never declared these accounts in my SALN, consistent with the belief that there is no legal duty to do so. The situation po is not my doing. It has been in place for a very long time. It is a common view that Republic Act 6713 does not amend the secrecy of foreign currency deposits. In fact, there is no jurisprudence or ruling on the matter. On the contrary, Supreme Court decisions confirm that the secrecy afforded by Republic Act 6426 is absolute. Certainly, I should not and cannot be penalized for abiding and relying on the letter of the law. The inaccuracies in my SALN do not constitute an impeachable offense. Not every omission, not every inaccuracy is an impeachable offense. In this case, the prosecution itself in fact admitted in open court right here that an omission or inaccurate declaration in the SALN, while it may constitute perjury, is not a high crime.
In a dramatic gesture, Corona whips out a letter of waiver and signs it. The waiver allows government agencies to open his bank accounts and that of his spouse. The waiver also authorizes the Supreme Court to release his SALN from 2002 to 2011.
Be that as it may, I have here with me a waiver Ito po, pirmado ko na po.
Ano po ba yung waiver na yan?
Babasahin ko po. Babasahin ko po. I, Renato C. Corona, hereby waive my right of confidentiality and secrecy of bank deposits under Republic Act number 1405 as amended, and authorize all banking institutions to disclose to the public any and all bank documents pertaining to all peso and foreign currency accounts under my name. I hereby authorize the Bureau of Internal Revenue, the Anti-Money Laundering Council, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Land Registration Authority to disclose to the public any and all information that may show my assets, liabilities, net worth, business interests, and financial connections, to include those of my spouse. I am likewise authorizing the Clerk of Court of the Supreme Court and Bank, with permission from the Supreme Court and Bank, to immediately release to the public my SALN for the years 2002 to 2011.
But Corona had more surprises. He sets a condition for releasing the waiver that all 188 congressman complainants and Senator Franklin Drilon should match his move and sign blank waivers authorizing government agencies to open their bank accounts as a gesture of transparency.
I am humbly asking all 188 complainants from the House of Representatives, led by the congressmen in the prosecution panel and Senator Franklin Drilon, to join me in a moment of truth as a gesture of transparency and reconciliation with the Filipino people and to one another. I am asking them to sign these blank forms and to join me sapagkat hiling po ito ng bayan. Let us face the people together. The nation is at a standstill. Our people are watching all of us. Our people have been drawn into this intriguing web of dissension and divisiveness. But if you decline, then you will affirm to me and all who are watching that there is in fact no legal obligation or duty to disclose foreign currency holdings and deposits. If any of you should choose to decline, I regret that there is no point in my waiver, because it will only allow the completion of the persecution I have suffered. I pray that this gentleman will accept my invitation. Otherwise, I stand by my actions as being completely founded on the law itself. Isusumiti ko po ang aking waiver sa kinauukulan kapag kumpleto na ang pirmadong 189 waivers. Kung hindi sila papayag sa hamong ito, bibigyan ko po ng direktiba ang aking defense panel na i-rest na po ang aking depensa. Total, wala naman silang napatunayang paratang laban sa akin. Maraming salamat po. Pagpalain po tayo ng buong may kapal. And now, the Chief Justice of the Republic of the Philippines wishes to be excused.
At this point, the Chief Justice stands up from the witness stand and
I am
walks out of the
humbly
courtroom.
Order. We have not discharged the Chief Justice with due respect to him. Counsel for the defense, will you kindly
Yes, Your Honor.
advise your client to return to the witness stand? I respect him as a Chief Justice, but this court must be respected. Sergeant Atang, saran ninyo yung testimony. Strike.
Really the situation. I'm so sorry. Ha? Meron daw.
Sino yung kasama niya dito?
Teka na, boss.
sa ENC. So ano nangyari?
Wala. Bumaba yung blood sugar eh.
In the studio with me is Rappler Editor-at-Large, Marites Vitug. Marites, what do you make of this historic, dramatic, bewildering, completely unexpected day?
Actually, it's mainly political theater. I think it was meant to be that because Chief Justice Corona found it difficult to deny. In fact, he did not deny the existence of the dollar accounts. He just said that that he had closed most of them and that only 4 remained. He did not deny the multi-million peso account, except that he did not declare it because it's commingled. It's from the Basa Gidote, it's from his mother's inheritance, from his mother, it's from his 2 daughters. So he did not really deny these major allegations, but he just wanted this entire platform, which he used for 3 hours, to state his story, including the personal details of his life.
Was he effective?
Well, for us who have been following this, there are a lot of inconsistencies and we could see some lies. So I think he also squandered this opportunity by just walking out. He did not subject himself to cross-examination.
It's funny when you look at the reaction on social media, it's been largely against the Chief Justice. Did he make a case for himself?
No, actually, it's very difficult to believe in his stories because he also referred to the AMLAC report. He did not, completely throw it out. He in fact used it as his reference. And we already heard his story on the Basa Gidote, but for someone who's been following the Basa Gidote, it was very clear in the court transcripts when Christina testified in one court case. She said, and I quote, that my grandmother bought the 2-hectare property in Jose Maria Basa's name. So if we can go back to this, then we'll see there are a lot of loopholes in his testimony.
The Basas were sitting in the courtroom today. I mean, how did they feel?
At one point, some of them were tearful, but of course, they were not talking to the other party, the Christina, but it was really a personal story that wove itself into this
international
issue. Yeah.
What do you expect to happen next now?
I think it's foolhardy for the Chief Justice to return tomorrow. And in fact, he said in his narration that he will ask his defense lawyers to rest their case. Yes. So I expect that to happen tomorrow. Plus, there will be a summation, maybe oral arguments. And within the week, I think that the senators will have to decide this.
His lawyers, I mean, we know now that he's at Medical City as we're talking. Did he look sick in the courtroom while he was speaking?
No, actually not. And in fact, there was somebody, I was there, and somebody one of the people who was there said that she had hypoglycemia once and she collapsed. So she said it really didn't reach that stage of hypoglycemia.
What does this mean now for the country?
Finally, we have seen the core of a Chief Justice who refuses to be accountable to the public. Because if he really wanted to explain all this, he would go under intense public scrutiny and cross-examination. So that's the character of the Chief Justice. He lied, and then he refused to be accountable to us and to the nation.
It seems like a lot of people are waiting to hear the cross-examination coming up, so hopefully he does come back. But Marites, thank you for coming back after the Senate. We'll move on to the next story. Lady Gaga performs a second night in Manila for about 20,000 Filipinos, about the same number who watched her show on Monday. State censors ruled her provocative act was within legal bounds. Despite protests and controversy, Lady Gaga announced she is, quote, not a creature of your government. Lady Gaga has become a symbolic voice for the silent and marginalized, pushing for inner and public acceptance despite societal norms. Her tour caused controversy in Seoul as well, and it's still unclear whether she will perform in Indonesia, where hardline extremists are threatening violence. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 3, Facebook stocks dropped 11% on Monday trading, while Apple and Google drove the Nasdaq Composite Index higher. Tuesday in Asia, markets climbed in anticipation of Wednesday's European Union summit, where leaders are expected to discuss how to promote growth and keep Greece in the Eurozone. In Tuesday's U.S. stock futures fall after Fitch Ratings cut Japan's credit ratings. At number 5, the showdown between Jessica Sanchez and Philip Phillips on American Idol's season finale happens Wednesday morning in Manila. It's the first time a contestant with Filipino roots has made it this far. Rappler takes a look at their online influence to see if social media can help predict the Idol winner. Read the 2 reports on Rappler.com. At number 7, NATO sets Afghanistan withdrawal and transition to 2013. Afghan security forces will soon be in charge of security for about 75% of the population, but it's still unclear how this transition will happen. Analysts warn against repeating history. It was the Soviet and U.S. pullout in 1979 from Afghanistan that created a power vacuum that incubated and grew Al-Qaeda. At number 8, from hotel maid to gang rape. French prosecutors say they're investigating charges that former IMF chief Dominique Strauss-Kahn took part in a gang rape in the United States. His lawyer says this just shows, quote, the incredible relentlessness of investigators against his client. And at number 9, Malaysian opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim is facing charges again, this time for taking part in a rally last month that demanded electoral reforms. Once the second most powerful official in Malaysia, Anwar was stripped of power, charged with corruption and sodomy charges, jailed and released in 2004. He led an opposition coalition in 2008 and he was slapped with more sodomy charges soon after. Anwar was acquitted of those charges last January. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Tuesday, May 22, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.